Hey guys, how are you doing? Hey, thanks so much for hopping on this live this evening. I'm excited to get on, and I hope that you are as well. And if you guys wouldn't mind, as you tune into this live, let me know where you are tuning in from. Okay, I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I would love to know who you might be going for in the Super Bowl tomorrow. Um, the Super Bowl is tomorrow. I know that's the big talk right now. Pickerington, Ohio. Rosie, Chloe. Well, thank you so much for hopping on. I actually use a system that I talk about on my live that was studied by the Cleveland Clinic there in Cleveland, Ohio. So I don't know how far Pickerington is from Cleveland, but I have actually been to Ohio before, but it's actually been a while. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited to get on tonight. And as you tune into this live, again, let me know where you guys are tuning in from. And if there's value in what I'm sharing, if you wouldn't mind, tap the screen. Because when you do that, it lets TikTok know that they should push this content out. Okay. So if you feel value, I hope and pray that you'll be able to do that. Um, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Troy. I live here in Phoenix, Arizona. I've lived here my whole life. I have a sister in Utah, a sister in Arkansas, sister in Tennessee. A few years after my dad passed away, we moved my mom to a memory care facility to be close to my sister in Tennessee. So Mike Johnson said, I've been a Seahawks fan since they started, have had them to win it all since third week of season. Sweet. Salem, Oregon. Hey, I love the Pacific Northwest. Oregon is such a beautiful state. I went to high school with a guy that was going to play football at the University of Oregon, Oregon Ducks. His brother did. His brother played. In fact, you would probably recognize the name Kenny Wheaton, and he ultimately went on to play in the NFL. But his brother, they went to my high school, and his brother, unfortunately, his life was cut way too short. But he was just a pure athlete. So it's kind of crazy that happens. But thank you so much for hopping on this live. I really do appreciate that. And if this is your first time, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you. Appreciate that. And I am coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. I love it here. The weather is absolutely perfect. And I'm super excited to dive into a really important topic. It's called insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome. Okay. Mary, I apologize for that. I don't know why I would be lagging. Okay. Let me know if it freezes. I do apologize for that. I don't know how to fix that. My internet's full bars. So hopefully that'll kind of go away. But if you're struggling with your health right now, okay, this information can change your life. Okay. Mike Johnson, Kenny Wheaton is going to score. They let off every game on the radio with that for like 20 years. I love it. Yeah, Kenny Wheaton was a pure athlete. So was his brother Derek Wheaton, right? They're good football players, they're good basketball players, or Derek was. Hey Miji. But I can't remember if Kenny ever played basketball, but I know obviously he played football because he went to play for the Oregon Ducks and then went on to play with the Cowboys, and his brother was actually supposed to go and play with him. And that's such a tragedy in regards to what happened to Derek Wheaton. But I'm really excited to get on. And I'm going to share some personal things, and I hope that it helps you to avoid the same mistakes that I've made. Solomon says in all of your gain understanding. And let me tell you, understanding insulin resistance, it changed everything for me. Okay. And so whether you've been following me or this is your first time, thank you. Okay. I am grateful for each and every one of you. Okay. You know, I nearly lost everything a couple different times in my life because I had insulin resistance so bad. And the crazy thing, folks, is I didn't even know that I had it, right? It's kind of like this silent thing, right? Some of you might be insulin resistance, but most people, most people don't know that they have it because we we don't talk about it. Hold on, Charlie, come here, come here, come here. Look at this sweetheart. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Charlie. Where are you? Come here. Look at that sweetheart. Come here. Hi. Go play. Nope. She's interested in just rubbing up against a chair. Um, Mary 545. So, your question in regards to type 2. What was your question? I just want to make sure I understand your question. But um, so I struggled with insulin resistance. Josu, thank you for being on. And it nearly cost me everything. And what I was trying to explain is that 93% of people here in the United States are affected by these health issues. They're affected by it, and most people literally have no idea that we even have these issues. And so, one of the reasons why I get on here, number one, I'm very passionate about talking about this. I think that each and every one of you should understand what it is because it's probably in your family, right? Think about your family reunion. Okay, how many people, how many of your loved ones are facing health challenges? Whether it's diabetes, Quill Campbell, thank you for being on. Okay, seriously, think about this. Think about your family reunion, right? You've got both sides of the family there. You've got your aunts, your uncles, your kids, your siblings, you've got everybody there. How many of these people are affected by insulin resistance? And let me ask you this question while you're thinking about that. Okay. If you had a solution to insulin resistance, whose life could you change? Would you guys mind just dropping that in the chat? Jan. Yep. Yeah. Low key, thank you for the follow. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just hopping on, and Plenio, thank you for the follow. Ulugeta, thank you. If you're just hopping on this live, that's what we're talking about. Is we are talking about metabolic syndrome, metabolic health that affects 93% of people. Okay. And Jan, I love that. Thank you. Thank you for hopping on and letting me know that. Okay. Let's see here. Just want to make sure something here. So, if you had a solution to the problem of insulin resistance, whose life could you change? And if you're struggling with your health, this information could change your life. And if there's somebody that you love and that you care about that needs to hear this, I hope and pray that you will share this live with them so that they can hop on, they can listen, they can ask questions. But imagine, helping others to improve insulin sensitivity. It's an absolute game changer. Mike Johnston, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. And one of the reasons why you get on this live every single day, it's so funny. I love the comments that people make. There's actually some comments that some of you can't see that others make, and I'm so glad that TikTok blocks it because it's actually quite inappropriate. And so, folks, I just want you to understand. I love getting on here. Okay. You know, one of the things that I enjoy doing is I enjoy teaching and educating people and helping people to understand, first and foremost, what insulin resistance is. Because 93% of us have it, right? You guys know what diabetes is and neuropathy and retinopathy, but at the end of the day, okay, there's many people that have these symptoms, and we just think that it's because you are getting older, right? We're starting to get tired, we're starting to slow down, right? And most of us just chalk it up to I'm older, right? That's how it's supposed to be. Well, aging does not have to mean a slowing metabolism, okay? And so whether you are struggling with your skin issues like skin tags and psoriasis and eczema, or maybe you've got neuropathy, or maybe you've got kidney stones or kidney disease, or you've got type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes, or some of you might not even know what type 3 diabetes is. And if you do, put that in the chat. Hey, MPT, thank you for the follow. Some of you know my story. I actually donated a kidney to my sister's husband back in November of 2014. And I was told literally 7 years after donating the kidney that the one kidney that I had was failing. I was told that I had stage 4 kidney disease. And my nephrologist said, Troy, if you don't lose some weight, if you don't change your diet, you're going to end up on dialysis. And I'm not going to lie, that freaked me out because I've always been healthy. And so to sit across the doctor, I honestly thought that he had somebody else's paperwork, right? Like he was looking at somebody else's paperwork. And when I realized that he was really talking about me, it scared me. And so my doctor said, you need to lose weight, you need to do these things, and if you don't, it's dialysis or worse. And so my doctor prescribed a medication, and most of you are probably on it. It's called Ozempic, right? I've changed the name, but I think you understand what it is. And my doctor gave this to me, and quite honestly, it made me sick. It made me so sick to the point to where I had to stop taking it. And it was 2.5 years later. And I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that God puts people in the right place at the right time into your lives. And my friend just happened to share something with me, and all she said was, you should give this a try. Right? Her husband and I were financial advisors. We had been financial advisors for a really long time, over a decade. And so when she reached out to me and shared this with me, she actually had no idea that 2.5 years earlier, I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease. Right then and there, I honestly firmly believe that God puts people in the right place at the right time, right? There's no coincidences, there's no happenstances, right? And AB World, thank you for the follow. And so she reached out to me and she said, you know what, you need to try this tea. In fact, I'm sipping on it right now. And she said it changed her husband's health. It improved it. It, helped to increase the insulin sensitivity. And I've got to be very careful in what I say, but just her husband, like it was night and day condition. And she just noticed that he started to improve all these areas. And so she shared this with me. And I ended up getting on it in January of 2024. And within a month and a half, I had lost 32 pounds. Believe it or not, I had migraine headaches that I had for 23 years. In fact, I would get 1 to 2 migraines every week for the last 23 years. And I noticed in the first week that I didn't have a migraine. And then the second week and the third week. And I have probably had maybe 1 or 2 migraines since then. And that was probably either food related or stress related, right? Or not drinking enough water, okay? And 5 months of utilizing a certain tool, when I went back to my nephrologist, my kidney doctor says, Troy, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. And so I love getting on here because what I'm going to share is a way that you can improve something that affects 93% of people. Okay. It's called insulin resistance. Some of you have never heard of the word. So I encourage you, if you want to learn a little bit more about it, go Google it, research it. It's going to be the hot hell topic for years to come because it affects, think about this. I don't know how many millions of people are in the United States, but 93% of people in the US have some level of insulin resistance. It could be diabetes, it could be neuropathy, it could be retinopathy, it could be PCOS if you're a woman, it could be erectile dysfunction. And Frank, thank you for the follow. Okay. It could be a slew of things. In fact, let me put this in here because I think this helps people to give perspective on what some of these symptoms kind of look like. So let me put this in here because this is really the root of today's health struggles, right? I call this the wheel of torture, but how many of you know somebody who is struggling with diabetes? Okay. And let me see here. Okay. How many of you, if you know somebody, by the way, that is struggling with diabetes, obesity, okay, PCOS, fatty liver disease. Okay, if you're looking at this list, like achy joints, prediabetes, acne, okay, put a 1 in the chat if you struggle with any one of these, or if you know somebody who is struggling with one or more of these symptoms. Okay, it helps me to know first and foremost how many others are affected by these health issues. Okay, this is me. 1, Clee. Thank you. Okay, I didn't even know that I had it. You want to know a really big problem? Is the fact that most medical professionals are not talking about the one thing that affects us all. And here's the deal. If you want to make a big impact in business or in life, you've got to solve a major problem. And right now, insulin resistance happens to be the biggest health issue in the world. Seriously, it's crazy. And over the past 2 years, actually over 2 years, I have been able to improve insulin sensitivity. And this is what I teach others on how you can do the same thing. And NA, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but thank you for the follow. Okay. So folks, we're going to talk about insulin resistance and I'm going to teach you 2 simple, effective things that you can do that can help you to start improving insulin sensitivity and help improve your health and hopefully get off the meds and get off the crazy diets and exercises, right? Power and thank you for the follow. Okay. I've got some statistics that I want to share with you though. Okay. 74% of Americans are overweight or obese. That's literally 3 out of 4 people. 54% of people are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. And 20% more adolescents are dealing with diabetes now than 10, 20 years ago. If you deal with any of these, first and foremost, I know that some of you put a 1 in the chat and user 934, thank you for the follow. But if any of you struggle with this, first and foremost, you are not alone. Anxiety, depression, okay? Fertility. How many of you know somebody who's trying to have a family and they're affected by it, right? They're paying, I know people that have spent thousands and thousands of dollars to try and have a family and it didn't work. There's so many people that are affected by these issues. And sometimes you really don't know what people are going through, right? And here's what I would encourage each and every one of you. Pay attention to what your body is telling you, right? Our body is always telling us, sometimes we don't always listen, but pay attention to what your body is telling you, much like you would respond to a flashing check engine light in your car. Think about this. Little Bo Beep, love your handle, by the way. I think it's incredible that you lost 80 pounds. no insulin. No type 2 diabetics should be on insulin anyways. I have a type 1 diabetic friend. Let me put this in the chat. Look at this for a second. I want you to read this while I go and grab something. I'm going to blow my nose real quick. Apologize. But I want you to look at that. That happens to be a type 1 diabetic. That individual reduces insulin intake by a significant amount. This is the type 1 diabetic that we're talking about, folks. Like, this is huge. The fact that this person's a type 1 diabetic, right? They have to be on insulin. Without it, they die. But the most important thing that I think that we can gather from this is that our bodies are pretty powerful, right? Our body has the ability to heal itself if we give our body the ability to do so. Right? It's so important for us to understand what we can do to improve our health. And so this is pretty incredible to have somebody who had these blood pressure issues literally for 47 years. Isn't that crazy? I don't know if you caught that, but that individual had high blood pressure for 47 years. And within a very short period of time was able to actually get off that. Folks, this is why I get on here every day and talk about insulin resistance. This is me, thank you. MC says, I heard you say us as type 2 diabetes soldier. Okay, I guess I'm a little confused on what you're shouldn't. Okay, so that's a really good question, MC, right? So I heard you say us type 2 diabetes shouldn't be on insulin. So let me explain something. Okay, I think it's important for each and every one of you to understand the difference between type 1 diabetics and type 2 diabetes. Okay, and Orlando Maynard, thank you for the follow. Okay, so MC, a type 1 diabetic has an autoimmune issue that is attacking their pancreas, right? Insulin is important. Okay, insulin is important, but it's not your friend. Okay, insulin is a storage hormone. Okay, every time you and I eat food, we spike our blood sugar. And what happens is that your insulin is released to bring the blood sugar back down. That's normal. This is basic biology. But what happens is that you and I, and most of us, are literally eating all day long, right? We call this the SAD diet, the standard American diet. And so we're constantly spiking our blood sugar and we're constantly spiking our insulin. And in reality, what we're doing is we're stacking insulin spike on insulin spike on insulin spike. And at the end of the day, you are literally swimming in insulin. It's called hyperinsulinemia. Okay. So going back to a type 1 diabetic and a type 2 diabetic, okay? A type 1 diabetic has an autoimmune disease, right? They have to get the insulin because without it, they die, right? We know that. A type 2 diabetic, this is a lifestyle disease, okay? We have literally eaten ourselves to diabetes. You can eat yourself out of type 2 diabetes. Most people don't realize that you can actually improve type 2 diabetes. Okay, I have known hundreds of people that I have connected with, customers of mine, and just acquaintances and friends. I have known hundreds of people who have improved type 2 diabetes and no longer have it. Now, here's the problem. Okay, MC, and thank you for the follow. If insulin is high, okay, your body has two fuel sources, okay? And this is another physiology, it's basic biology, okay? If your insulin levels are high, guess what your body is doing? Your body is storing fat. When insulin levels are low, your body is literally switching fuel sources. Instead of storing it, now it is burning it, okay? So how many of us were taught to eat 3 meals a day and to snack 2 to 3 times a day. Right? That is our eating. That, this has become ingrained in our daily routine. And the Rebel Lady, incredible. I love that. Okay. So, right, how many of us were taught that we should eat 3 meals a day? And most of us were taught that breakfast was the most important meal of the day. And how many of us were told to eat smaller meals, eat 5 to 6 smaller meals because it keeps your metabolism high? Put a thumbs up. Thank you. This is me. Put a thumbs up if that's you. Do you guys realize that advice that we received back in the 90s is part of the reason why 93% of people are metabolically unhealthy? This is why 3 out of 4 people are overweight or obese. And I'm not saying this to insult or make fun of anybody. This is the reality. Look around us, okay? Like I said, if you were to go to your family reunion, okay, honestly, if you went to your family reunion, okay, how many people are affected by these health issues? Okay, right? How many of your loved ones are tired all the time? How many of them are overweight? How many of them are not sleeping through the night? How many of you are wearing a CPAP at night? And MC, I think that's extremely smart. When I donated a kidney to my brother-in-law, and I was told that I had stage 4 kidney disease, my doctor said that I needed to lose weight. So guess what my doctor gave me? Okay, my doctor gave me this. It is no different than the Manjaro MC that your doctor gave you. I want you guys to understand something about medications. Okay, I'm not anti-medicine and I'm not anti-doctor. I am anti-ignoring the root cause. I think that each and every one of you has a right and an obligation to understand what is going on inside your body. And when we go to a doctor, okay, and we need doctors, they have the ability to save our lives. But at the end of the day, okay, doctors are paid to diagnose and treat your symptoms. They will only test what they can medicate. And I want you guys to understand something. In MC, I think it's awesome that you haven't injected that in the last 2 weeks. And your gut and your body, I promise you, is thanking you. Because here's the reality, okay? For almost every 10 pounds of weight that somebody loses on that, you're losing about 4 to 5 pounds of muscle, bone, and connective tissue, okay? Just go look up the side effects, right? It's called sarcopenia. This is something that a lot of people that are on these meds, these weight loss meds, have noticed that they're weaker, right? They're losing muscle, and this is a big problem. Okay, and Bibo, how you doing, brother? And Bibo, folks, is actually almost one of my very first customers that I ever had. And he's not only loving this system, but he has helped so many people. He's down 40 pounds. He's off of blood pressure and cholesterol meds now. I love that. Okay, Bibo is one of my customers. He's actually, I love it. And he has shared this with so many people, and this is what I'm referring to. He's shared this with so many people, and the impact that those people are having in their lives is a direct result of Bibo just opening up his mouth and sharing this with people. So Bibo, I love that. And congrats on the fact that you've lost weight. You're off your blood pressure and cholesterol meds. That's what this is about, folks. Babyface, thank you for the follow. MC says, I have lost so much muscle mass. How would you control that? MC, I'm putting this in here, okay? I want you guys to understand. If any of you have ever been on my lives before, I get restricted all the time. So I have to be very, very careful on what it is that I share because I want to be compliant and I don't want to get kicked off. Okay. So there's a form that you can see here, MC, and anybody else that wants to connect. Okay. If you fill that out, it's a way for you to learn more and be able to stay in contact. Okay. Babyface, type 2 diabetic, A1C is 9.3 and no medication. MC, I want to share this with you because this is a text message that I received from one of my customers. And I want you guys to just look at this for a second, okay? And you want to read it from the bottom up, okay? Because that's how the text messages came through, okay? His A1C went from 11.3 to 5.8. His doctor, ladies and gentlemen, was amazed that he what? Reversed his type 2. It's incredible, right? But he said he was prescribed something, but he decided to use this instead. And because of that, it has completely changed his life. Look at that. IBS, gout, vertigo, depression. It's amazing what can change when you actually give your body the right tools. This is one of the reasons why I think it is so important for you to know what is going on under the hood of the vehicle. Okay? We can see what's going on in the outside, but nobody has a telescope and everything else that you can see what's going on inside of our bodies. But again, your body is always telling you something. Sometimes we just don't hear it. Do you guys realize that insulin resistance is silent until it's not? Insulin resistance, honestly, it plays games with you sometimes because you really don't know that you even have it until you are sitting across from your doctor and your doctor is literally telling you you've got stage 4 kidney disease, or that I mean, honestly, when my doctor told me that, I literally thought he was looking at somebody else's labs. And folks, I am so grateful that I was willing to listen to a friend. My friend who actually shared this with me, okay, she's a former rocket scientist. Her and her husband used to live here in Tucson, Arizona. I live in Phoenix. Her husband and I happened to be financial advisors for over a decade. And she was a rocket scientist for 27 years at Raytheon. And she's actually been doing this now for 3 years. She's no longer working at Raytheon, and she wouldn't want to work there anyways because she makes 4 times what she was making. But she opened her mouth. And like I said before, I honestly believe that God puts people in the right places at the right time, right? God is always mindful of us. And if there's anything that you get from this live, Heavenly Father is in the details of our lives. And I hope that you guys believe that and know that. But when my doctor told me 2.5 years earlier that I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease, my doctor just said, you need to lose weight. Well, here's a way for you to lose weight. Guys, this made me sick. I literally had to stop taking it because it was making me sick. And it wasn't until 2.5 years later when I learned about a simple natural tool that had changed her husband's life. So she shared it with me. Now, right, we have to act, right? We can't always just hear and, let it go through one ear and out the other, right? We've got to act. And I acted, right? I was like, okay, it comes with a 90-day money back guarantee. I have nothing to lose. And so I tried it in January of 2024. And within 5 months of being on it, my kidney doctor is telling me, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. I had migraines for 23 years. I haven't had a migraine. My acid reflux, brain fog, anxiety, depression, sleep apnea, all of these things started to improve. Folks, this is why I do this live every day. This is why I share video and content that's hopefully educational, right? I try and share it in a way that helps people, that makes sense, right? And so I want you to think of insulin resistance. Like, what is it? Think of it like you're wearing noise canceling headphones, right? And someone keeps asking you a question over and over, but you can't hear them. Or imagine that you're talking to somebody who's hard of hearing, and so you instinctively start raising your voice. This is what happens with our body. This is actually what happens with our cells of our body. Your cells literally become less responsive to insulin, right? Remember, insulin it's not your friend. It's not. Okay? Insulin, where's my keys? I don't have my keys on me. But think of the keys to your house or the keys to your car. If you don't have the keys to your car or your house, you can't get into your house, right? Insulin is the gatekeeper to our cells. It is what unlocks our cells and allows the sugar to enter our cells, and your cells will use this for energy. This is the energy that powers your brain. It's the energy that powers your organs. Okay? We need that energy. But what happens when your cells become resistant to insulin's knock at the door is now your body has to pump more and more and more just to move the same amount of glucose. And think about this. Folks, you and I are not just eating 1 or 2 meals a day. Oh, no. No, we were taught in the 90s that we need to have breakfast, right? Start your day with a bunch of carbs and sugar that literally blows up your blood sugar. And now you're a wreck metabolically for the rest of the day. Okay. We were taught to have 3 meals a day and to snack 2 to 3 times a day. And folks, how is that working out for us? How many of you love to eat food late at night? How many of you are waking up 1 or 2 times to go to the bathroom, right? Frequent urination is a sign of insulin resistance. How many of you are tired all the time? How many of you, after you just eaten a meal, you're already thinking about your next meal? How many of you snack all the time? I'm a foodie. I love food. Folks, I literally now I eat 1 to 2 meals a day, and that is it. My health is night and day better now than it was before this tool, right? I love talking to people about insulin resistance because here's why I love it. My dad passed away Easter Sunday, 2017. I miss my dad. And I wish I knew what I know now then, because my dad would most likely still be here. My 85-year-old mother lives in a memory care facility in Tennessee. She's living close to my sister. She's on more than 24 medications. And I know for a fact that at least 1 to 2 of those medications is because of a side effect to another medication. Folks, I'm not anti-doctor. I'm not anti-medicine. I said that before. Medication should be the backup to the backup plan. Our bodies are powerful. God knew what he was doing when he created us. And our bodies have the ability to heal itself on its own if we give our body the right tools. There's 2 things that I teach: fasting and fiber, and making sure that you have the right tools. Now, what I love about what it is that I use daily is it works with your body, not against it. There's no contraindications with the system. There's no side effects. In fact, it's listed in the physician's desk reference. And if any one of you has no idea what the physician's desk reference is, it's called the doctor's Bible, basically. This is what doctors use to prescribe meds. Okay. And we happen to be in there as it's considered a nutraceutical, right? But here's what I love about it. When we go to a doctor, and here's the part, folks, that I think nobody wants to tell you, but I'm going to tell you now. And Camilla and Ricky and to everyone, Lynn, who's following me, thank you so much. I appreciate that. BB Money. Here's the part that no one wants to tell you. If I go to the doctors because I've got IBS and migraines and cholesterol issues, okay, and let's just say that I go to 3 different doctors because you know what? I don't trust my doctor. Maybe I want to get 2 or 3 different opinions. You guys realize that every doctor that you go to, you're going to pay a copay, and you're going to walk out with at least 2 to 3 different medications. And folks, I want you guys to understand something. Medications are not designed to fix the root cause. They're not. Medications are designed to treat your symptoms. You're masking your symptoms, right? You cannot put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. Folks, when was the last time that your doctor ever sat you down and said, hey, you know what, Jennifer, here's why your A1C is so high. Here's why your blood pressure is through the roof. Here's why your cholesterol levels are through the roof. No, if your cholesterol is high, folks, the first thing coming out of your doctor's mouth is, we need to put you on a statin. Sounds like the right thing to do. Oh, you've got some weight to lose. Oh, well, folks, have you guys noticed that literally every other commercial that we watch on TV is promoting some kind of medication. Now you've got Charles Barkley and other celebrities that are telling you, hey, get on these weight loss meds, right? They're doing it, so it should be safe for you, right? Guys, I want you to be an advocate for your own health, because sometimes, and I'm not saying every doctor, but most doctors, they don't have your best interests at hand. We need doctors. They have the ability to save our lives. But I want you guys to be an advocate for your own health. Understand what insulin resistance is, because when you understand what insulin resistance is, you can start connecting the dots, right? If you have, sorry about that. Isabel, thank you for the follow. Jennifer, thank you for the follow. Seriously, like if we are struggling with these health issues, far too often we are just throwing medications at our symptoms without trying to fix the root cause. Folks, if you want to fix the root cause, you can. And Brian Crypto, I appreciate you hopping on my live, but this is not a way to promote your thing and to tell people that you're going to give them money if they message you. Please don't do that, okay? And Brian, okay, he's no longer on here. Thank you. So let me ask you this question, and I know I've kind of already dabbled in it, but what is the most important meal of the day? Right? How many of us were told just that breakfast was the most important meal of the day? I used to believe that. But here's the truth. Your break fast, right? Breakfast, breaking your fast, it's whatever you eat first, no matter the time of day. And that first meal that you and I have literally sets the tone for everything that comes after. Now, let me ask you this. There's 3 macronutrients, okay? We've got protein, we've got fats, and we've got carbs. But which one of those is not essential? I'd love to see what your thoughts are. Out of protein, fats, and carbs, which one do you think is not essential? Now, for those of you that are just hopping on this live, we're talking about insulin resistance and why it is the root cause of 90% of all the health issues that we have. Now, I do want to say this, okay? Look how sweet she is. Hi, Charlie. She's so funny. Now, let me say this, okay? If you have a doctor that is talking to you about insulin resistance, hold on to that doctor. Because so many medical professionals are not addressing it, even though it happens to be the root cause of so many health issues. Right? Think about this, folks. Carbs, protein, and fats. Which one of those are not essential? Okay, we need protein. Our brain needs it. Our muscles need it. Right? We need fats, right? Right? Our body can't produce fats on its own. So we, like omega-3s, omega-6s. So we've got to be able to get this from our diet. But folks, if you are struggling with things like skin issues, like skin tags, psoriasis, if you've got excess belly FAT that no matter what it is that you do, you just can't seem to lose it. If you've got, belly, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, if you've got migraines or inflammation, these are all signs of insulin resistance. And don't forget, insulin is a FAT storing hormone. I call it the love handle hormone. And in reality, folks, there's really only 2 stages of life where you want to be insulin resistant. And that's puberty and pregnancy, right? Because these are the 2 stages of life where it's helping your body to grow. But outside of that, too much insulin in the body becomes a major problem. Right? If you want to lose that weight, if you want to, improve insulin sensitivity, we've got to lower your insulin. That is the key. And folks, I want you guys to understand something. If you are diabetic, okay, Do you guys realize that if you're diabetic, that you are 80% more likely, okay, this is a study done from the University of North Carolina, you are 80% more likely to have a heart attack or stroke. You are 81% more likely to develop Alzheimer's and dementia, right? These are things that are caused by diabetes. And the reality is that if you are on insulin as a type 2 diabetic, I want you to understand that your risk of Alzheimer's and dementia and the dreadful C word that we celebrate in September that I can't talk about, it actually doubles. And your risk for heart attack and stroke, it triples. These are not just numbers, folks. These are life-altering truths. And far too often, all we're doing is throwing meds. If you're doing that, it's like having a leak in your ceiling and you're putting a bucket to catch the water, but never fixing the roof. The best news that I can give you, and Claudia and David, thank you for the follow. The best news that I can give you is that we can do something about it. You can improve your insulin resistance. You can improve your insulin sensitivity. And if you, first and foremost, if you've been diagnosed with diabetes or prediabetes or right, any of that, those are huge red flags. But I want you guys to remember something. These are not just symptoms that are part of aging, right? They're your body's way of telling you that something is off, right? And little bo beep, you're not wrong, right? If you've ever heard of type 3 diabetes, it is often referred to as Alzheimer's and dementia, which is what my 85-year-old mother has. And I want you guys to understand something. If Alzheimer's or dementia runs in your family, pay attention to that one. That is not anything that I would wish upon anyone. Even if I had enemies, and I don't think that I do, I hope I don't, but I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. So what are some things that you and I can start doing that can start to naturally improve our health? Okay, first we've got to manage our glucose spikes. And the way that you do that is by being mindful of what it is that we eat and really how often we eat. Folks, it's not about eating less food, okay? It's about eating less often. If you think about our ancestors that lived 100, 200 years ago, they weren't eating the 3 meals a day, and they certainly weren't snacking 2 to 3 to 4 times throughout the day. And puzzle, I want you to look at what you just mentioned, right? There's no sugar in Diet Coke. Go look at some of the chemicals that are in Diet Coke. And I'm not telling you to not drink it. I've drank Diet Coke. I've drank Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew and all of that. Okay? Folks, there's a lot of things in the food. I mean, think about this. 90% of all the chronic issues that we struggle with today, most of it is all caused by what it is that we eat and how often we eat. So, and a little bo beep, my heart goes out to you. I can't even imagine that, and I'm looking at my mom, and her health is all over the place, right? It's so hard to witness somebody that you love and that you care about that is literally starting to be a complete shell of themselves. It's hard. And what's even harder is the facility she's in. I can't do anything about it, which is so dumb, right? I wish that I could do something about it, but they won't let me. I've tried to, share this and bring this, but, it's like they restrict everything. And my mother wouldn't remember to do it. I mean, she can't even remember who she is half the time. So the first step is manage your glucose spikes. And one of the things that I teach is fasting. Okay? Many of us have been told to eat less and move more, right? This is called the calories in, calories out approach, right? But here's the truth. Our bodies are a lot smarter than simple calorie math, okay? When we actually restrict calories, you actually slow down your metabolism, right? And there was actually a study that was done at the Carnegie Institute of Washington back in 1919. And when people restricted their calories, guess what happened? These people couldn't stop thinking about food. They were hungry, they were tired, they were cold, right? They suffered muscle loss. It's called sarcopenia. Okay, sarcopenia is some of those things that some of you are probably experiencing when you're taking these weight loss injections, right? Hey, all of your favorite celebrities are doing it, so it's working for them, right? It's going to work for you. And I'm not doubting that people can lose weight on those meds. I know that people have lost. But here's the reality on what happens with those. When your body stops getting, when your body gets used to it, right? And these medications start to lose their effectiveness after about a year or 2 years, what do you think happens to all of that weight and to all of those symptoms when you stop taking those meds? What happens? The symptoms come back. Folks, you and I can white knuckle a diet for 2 weeks. We can all lose weight. But the moment you stop that, what do you think happens? And I'm not saying that, you know, here's the truth, folks. We've got to understand what is causing all of these things so that we can connect the dots. And out of protein and fats and carbohydrates, believe it or not, are the only non-essential macronutrient. And here's the reason why is because, folks, when you fast, okay, your body literally, it's called gluconeogenesis. This is where your body literally starts to convert your stored FAT into energy. And your body literally starts to use this as your body's primary source of fuel. It's incredible. Seriously, it's absolutely amazing how well it works. And the problem is, though, is that we are eating all of the time. Folks, I had no idea what insulin resistance was. I mean, think about it. MC, I love it. By the way, what I use daily is available in South Africa. It is available in 66 countries. Folks, if you are familiar to what the PDR is here in the United States, right? It's what doctors use. Guys, we're the only company in the world that has a natural tool that's listed in there that is, helping to improve insulin sensitivity. I had no idea that it even existed, right? And can I do weight training while fasting? App or user, I love that you just asked that question. And Volker, thank you so much for being on. I'm actually looking to connect with people in Germany. So if there's some way that you and I can connect, please, let's do that. I just put the form here so you can fill it out. I would love to connect. But Apple user, I love your question. When I fasted, I've done 72-hour fasts, I've done 78-hour fasts, and I want to explain something with you to help you understand why fasting can be such a powerful tool. Okay, and we're going to talk about this for a second, but I have literally gotten some of the best workouts in on fasted. Seriously, I've literally gotten some of the best fasts I've ever done by fasting. I'm not sure who these people are that keep coming into this live making these weird comments, but I get some of the best workouts by fasting. I love it. And here's what happens, right? And if you're new to fasting, I always encourage people to start out with 12 to 13 hours, okay? And increase it over time, right? So when you wake up in the morning, and let's say that you normally eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. Here's what I would tell you. When you wake up, push your breakfast back to 8 o'clock. And then tomorrow, push it back to 9 o'clock. And then the next day, push it back to 10 o'clock. Before you know it, you're skipping breakfast. I know that this is going to be really hard to understand, and maybe we'll even challenge what we've been taught. But your body actually runs better when you wait first thing in the morning, right? When you're not eating first thing in the morning, okay, your body actually runs better. Your energy levels go up. And when you fast for 12 hours, you reset your gut. Right? There's something magical that happens at around 17 hours and it increases over time. It's called autophagy. Okay? Autophagy is kind of like buying a house and you're renovating it. You're gutting it. Okay, your body literally is getting rid of old, dead, tired, unhealthy cells, and your body is replenishing it with brand new healthy cells. Right? Autophagy is amazing because your skin starts to look clear, like everything starts to change. Right? Your body's creating ketones, and I want you guys to understand something. When your body creates ketones, it fights off viruses, harmful cells, bacteria, the dreadful C word that we can't mention on this live. But ketones, right? That C word cannot thrive on ketones. Did you know that? The C word thrives on sugar and high insulin environments. I hope you guys are understanding why we've been taught to eat 3 meals a day and to snack throughout the day, and that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So we should start our day with a bowl of loops of fruit, right? Because when we do that, guess what it does? It doesn't blow up your blood sugar like a roller coaster. No, it's low, right? It helps us to lose weight. You guys know I'm joking, right? If that's how we start our day, there's a reason why most of you, after you eat food, you're tired 30 minutes later, or you're already thinking about your next snack or your next meal. But when you fast for 24 hours, you literally reset your entire gut. When you fast for 48 hours, you start to, increase your HGH, the human growth hormone starts to increase, right? And when you fast for 72 hours or more, guess what happens? You literally reset your entire immune system, right? There was a doctor, okay, a doctor who studied chemo patients, and he had these chemo patients, right, do a 3-day water fast, okay? And at the end of the 3-day water fast, they rejuvenated their entire immune system. And you know what? They actually have these self-studies tests, folks, where they take colorectal and breast, the C cells, and they put them in these petri dishes. You know what's interesting? When insulin and sugar are present in these little petri dishes, guess what happens to those harmful cells? They proliferate, they multiply. You guys ever remember the movie The Gremlins, right? When you sprinkled water on it, they all multiplied. Well, guess what happens to your harmful cells in your body when you're feeding it sugar and high insulin? They multiply, they proliferate. But here's the equation. In this study, when they literally took out insulin out of the equation, guess what happened to those harmful cells? Guess what happened to the C cells? They died. Folks, I hope you understand that your body is powerful. Our bodies have the ability to heal itself if we give it the right tools and do the right things. See, most people don't know this, right? A lot of people are told to eat less and move more. But here's the thing, if insulin stays high, the body stores energy instead of using it. That's why effort doesn't always equal results. This is why many of you you're like, I'm eating healthy, I'm working out all the time, right? And yet I still can't lose weight. In fact, I'm gaining it, right? Insulin resistance doesn't mean diabetes, okay? It means that your body is struggling to move fuel into your cells. Fasting, folks, is one of the best things that you can do because it's the quickest way to regulate and get your insulin under control. If your goal is to improve health, get your insulin under control. That's step one, fasting. Step two is fiber, right? Fiber is so crucial. And yet you and I are getting less than half of the amount of fiber that we should be getting each day. Now, here in the United States, some of you probably noticed this, but back in the 1960s and leading into the 80s, the food industry, the food manufacturers, guess what they started doing? They started taking fiber out of our foods. Folks, the reason why they did this is to increase the shelf life of your foods. I want you to remember something. When the shelf life of your food goes up, your lifespan and your blood sugar control, it goes down. Seriously. People who literally finally see changes in their health and improving insulin sensitivity focus on three things. Number one, what foods spike insulin? Number two, how often we eat. And number three, how digestion affects your blood sugar. Remember, when you and I eat foods, okay, we always spike our blood sugar. And your body secretes a hormone called insulin that is released to help bring the blood sugar back down. So if you and I are literally eating all day long, your insulin stays high all day long. This is why you're tired. This is why you're developing diabetes and neuropathy and everything else. Okay? This is why you've got sleep apnea. This is why no matter how clean you're eating and how right, you feel like you're doing everything right and you feel like you're taking 2 steps back, it's because insulin's way up here. When insulin comes down, this is when the fat's got to go. This is when your body literally starts to improve. So if you're told and taught that, hey, no, eat all day, right? It keeps your metabolism high. No, that's part of the reason why we are so sick. And the reality, folks, is that when you go to your doctor, let me ask you this question, and I think you guys will be able to answer this for yourself, and you'll understand why I do these lives. And think about this and answer this honestly. Do you think what the medications and the doctors are doing for you, do you think it's helping you to fix the root cause? Or do you think it's just managing your symptoms? Decide, and thank you to everyone who's hitting the follow button. I really do appreciate that. But do you feel like they're helping to fix the issue, or do you think they're just managing it? What do you think? If you wouldn't mind putting that in the chat. Stacy, okay, I agree. I agree with you, right? Folks, when was the last time, honestly, that your doctor ever explained to you why your cholesterol was so high, why your A1C was so high, right? Did they ever educate you on what insulin resistance was? Folks, if you live in Norfolk, Virginia, okay, and I drop you blindfolded in Omaha, Nebraska, but you are trying to get to Orlando to go to Disney World, how are you going to get there if you don't know where you're starting? Right? The point I'm making is that if they teach you how to fix it, you won't need them anymore. Do they make money when you eat or when you don't? Do they make money when you take your medication or when you don't? Folks, what I love about what I teach and what I do and what I use and have been using for 2 years is it works with your body, no matter what it is that you're already currently doing. Most doctors don't even know that this system exists at all because nobody talks about it. Far too often, remember, we're just throwing meds at our symptoms without understanding what the root cause is. Folks, if we just think of insulin resistance like a fire that is burning out of control in your body. Just like how the smoke signals that there is a fire, all of these symptoms that you and I have, that is the smoke to your fire. And we can either choose, folks, to put the fire out, or we can just treat the symptoms, right? We just take our bucket of water and we just keep pouring it on the smoke, right? Hoping that that fire is going to go out. But that's what doesn't happen. We've got to put the fire out. We've got to put it out. We've got to address the root cause. And Drim Hotep, this is a natural form of what it is that you take. Folks, this is what I've been using for 2 years. It has been studied by the #1 heart hospital in the world, the Cleveland Clinic. It's been studied by BYU and the University of Sydney in Australia. It's been studied by Columbia University in New York, BYU, Stanford, UCLA, UNLV, right? All of these institutions. And yet hardly anybody knows that it even exists. Folks, I want you guys to understand that if you have insulin resistance, you can improve it without the need for meds or diets or crazy exercises. Work with your doctor. But I want you guys to understand that our bodies are powerful. Your body has the ability to heal itself. And what I love about this simple tool that I use every single day is it helps to detox your liver. It improves insulin sensitivity. It nourishes your microbiome, which is where 80% of your immune system is. And when you give your gut the right things, guess what happens? Your body starts to heal on its own. How many of you have, inflammation? Things like plantar fasciitis, bursitis, colitis. Okay. How many of you have autoimmune conditions like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis? Anybody here with hypoglycemia or feeling like you've got to eat constantly, or maybe you're suffering from headaches and heart disease? These are all related to insulin resistance. And like I said, the part that nobody wants to tell you is that when we go to a doctor, all they do is treat the symptoms. They're not worried about helping you to fix the root cause. There's no money in it. When you go to a doctor, your doctor always checks your blood sugar, right? They always check your glucose. Do you guys realize that checking your glucose is like having a basement in your house, okay? And it's dry on the surface, right? But it's completely full of water beneath it. Folks, if we eat all day long, all we're doing is fueling that, okay? Doctors test what they can medicate. And so if you are struggling with health, okay, fasting, fiber, and making sure that you have the right tools. Now, I have to be very careful on what I say and share. In fact, I had to remove my LINK from, my TikTok page. I had a TikTok shop up until yesterday, and they removed that for me for at least the next 3 days. But what I use daily, MC, this right here was created by Rexall Drugs. Rexall used to be the biggest drugstore in the world. And these doctors and scientists actually created this blend of plant-based fibers. And the reason why they did this is because the food industry was actually taking fiber out of our food. So they wanted to put it back in, okay? The fiber that I take every single day, you can't get anywhere. There's 4 patents on it. It can't be copied or replicated, okay? There's a lot of people out there that are trying, but, they're not, they can't, okay? But fiber is crucial. Fiber is what actually helps to heal your heart, your kidneys, your liver, right? We need more fiber. And the fact of the matter is that our food industry has actually taken fiber out of our foods. So they created this to put it back in. But they also wanted to eradicate heart disease naturally. Heart disease and the C word are the 2 leading causes of death worldwide. And what most people don't realize is that it's all caused by one thing, okay? Now, let me go back to type 2 diabetes, okay? It's not inherited, right? It is not insulin dependent. Type 1, I can understand it. Type 2, no. It is a carbohydrate toxicity syndrome, right? Folks, you don't get sick because your blood sugar is high. Your blood sugar is high because insulin is broken. That is what insulin resistance is. And if you've ever been told that you can't fix or improve type 2, folks, first and foremost, it's not a life sentence. It is not progressive, okay? You can actually improve it because insulin resistance is, you can improve insulin resistance. You can become insulin sensitive again, okay? You have options, you always have, okay? Some people just may have not ever told you that, but you do. And if this hits home, follow me or, tap the screen, right? Because TikTok loves this. It'll push the content out to more people, okay? And little will be, nope. So here are some other sources of fiber outside of the one that I use daily, okay? This is what Rexall created. But you can get fiber from broccoli and beans and flax and chia seeds. Avocados, artichokes are good sources of fiber. But I would encourage you to have fiber with your meal or right before you eat your meal. And when you have it, it's going to help to eliminate the glucose spikes that you have. Now, folks, I know that we've been on here for a little over an hour, and I've got just about a few more minutes. And I'm going to head to bed. It's been a long day, but I want you guys to know that we have a solution to the biggest health problem in the world, and hardly anybody knows about it. And I'm very limited on how I can share it, which is the craziest thing, right? I don't like getting restricted by TikTok. But for those of you that are looking for something, right? I have been using something that works. We can prove that it works, right? Your doctor can actually look it up. And if you're checking your blood work or your doctor is checking it, you are going to notice day one that it is working. Okay. Folks, if this resonates with you and if this sounds like what you've been looking for, praying for, okay, and if you'd like to get started, folks, you don't have to wait to fix your health. And MC would love to connect. I love the fact that you're in Africa, South Africa. I am actually looking to connect with people in Germany and South Africa as well. So would love to connect. McNeppy, thank you for the follow. And thank you to everyone who has hit the follow button. I really do appreciate that. Folks, I love talking about this. You know, I've been using this for over 2 years. 5 months on it, I improved insulin sensitivity. When I went back to my nephrologist, again, my doctor says, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. So there's a reason why I get on here and share it, because at the end of the day, folks, the majority of you that are watching it are probably on a bunch of meds. Maybe you're trying to diet. I have an 89-year-old customer. He's so funny, but he's like, I have literally tried everything until he found this. He's 89 years old, right? He's spent, and I know some people have spent thousands of dollars on different things that didn't work. And what I love the most about what it is that I use every day is that if people are open to trying it, the company literally gives you 90 days to try it. And if it doesn't work, you literally get your money back. It is HSA and FSA approved. So if you're in the United States and you have a health savings account or flexible spending account through your employer, you can actually use that to purchase this. And folks, if you're like me and you love helping people, right? When you start using this and you see the benefits, you actually can share this with other people and potentially even get your product for free. So this is why I do this, okay? And this is why I teach this system, okay? Now I've pinned a form, okay, that allows you to connect, but I'm hopping off in the next few minutes, so I wanted to give you this in case you wanted to find out what it is. I'm happy to send this to you. We've got almost 200 people on this live. But I want to make sure that you guys have a way to connect, okay? Folks, I love talking about this. I wish that somebody would have shared this with me 21 years ago. My brother was 33 when he passed away, and my dad passed away on Easter Sunday, 2017. And I truly believe that this could have impacted their life in a positive way. User 189, right? That's a loaded question, right? Inflammation is one of the root causes of insulin resistance, just like diabetes is, right? It's all caused by the same thing. And so, Lady V, this is available in 66 countries. So yes, it's Health Canada approved. And if you know anything about Canada, Canada is really, really hard to get into. And we are in Canada. We're in South Africa. We're in Japan, we are in South Korea, okay, we're in Kuwait. I mean, we're literally in all over the world, which just tells you that this is a global epidemic, right? There's a lot of people that are looking for a safer, natural way to improve the quality of their health. And if what I shared with you resonates with you, if it sounds like what you're looking for, folks, you don't have to wait, okay? I love teaching people this because when they finally end up getting on it, people literally wish that they would have tried this years ago. Okay. So there's a reason why, you know, I do this every day. It has changed my life. It has improved hundreds, if not thousands of people that I have shared this with. And when you get a text message from somebody that tells you that this changed their life, you can't put a price on that. Okay. Now, if any of you are curious as to what this system costs, it is about $5.10 per day. Folks, if you're skipping a meal, if you can, and if you're avoiding snacks, you and I probably spend far more than $5 just going to Starbucks. Okay. $5 a day, okay, to invest back into your health can make the biggest difference when it comes to your metabolic health. As I mentioned before, if this resonates with you, if you're open to trying it comes with a 90-day money back guarantee. If it doesn't work, folks, just cancel. Just don't reorder. You literally get your money back. Okay. When you do, okay, you will be connected with me. I will coach you. I will help you to understand exactly how to use this. Okay. And I work with every single person that has ordered this because I want to make sure that you understand it and you get the most out of it. Thank you to everyone who has been tapping the screen, who has been sharing this. Okay, I really do appreciate that. And folks, okay, feel free to connect. That's what this is all about. And if you have questions, I'm happy to send you details. Okay. This changed my life. I know that it can change yours. Guys, I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your night. And I hope you guys enjoy tomorrow